very small town in southern Illinois. It's like 3,000 people, Dupo, Illinois. And I was very much an overachiever in high school, and I was very social in high school. Cheerleader, did all that. And I think it's just because of my ambition, first of all, which got me out of that small town to Chicago. And secondly, it's just my love of people, and I love I have a variety of friends in every different social strata, and I love the events on all those different levels, and I think that over time, more people know you, and then you get to be called a so-called socialite, whatever that really means, I don't know, but...
What do I have to do for somebody to call me a socialite? Because it hasn't happened yet. I'm waiting for one person to just say it, but it has not happened.
I think you get your picture in the paper once or twice, and all of a sudden you're a socialite. I don't know for sure.
But you know what most of us do? We see these pictures of the paper, and everybody looks pretty, and we always go, oh, rich people. Look at these people having another party. How come I never go to those parties? How did you do that? You just, all of a sudden, you're going to all these big events and openings and stuff?
Well, you start with small events, and when you say yes to enough things, then people say, oh, boy, she's a sucker. She's going to come to everything that's an opening of an envelope. And so then you get all these tons of invitations. And eventually you get to weed out the ones you like from the ones you don't like, and you get more selective and attend more fun events.
I've noticed that the socialites here in Chicago, your name is Candy. There's a girl named Sugar. There's a pattern there, Do you have to be named
I've been called Candy since high school.
Oh, is that true?
So
really? Candace is a lot more official sounding. Yeah. What has been for you the event? Is there such a thing as the event of the year? Sometimes you'll hear a phrase like that. What's been the biggest thing in Chicago that you really were impressed by?
I think one of the biggest events was the opening of the Modern Wing for the Art Institute. Tickets were outrageously expensive. They were $2,000 a piece. I mean, my husband couldn't even afford to go. He was kind enough to send me, knowing how anxious I was to see it, because, of all the publicity surrounding it, and it was supposed to be so magnificent and gorgeous, and anybody was going to be there, and all the hype surrounding it. And I will tell you, it lived up to the hype. It was the most exciting party. All the women and all the men were in their finery. All the jewels were brought out. All the big money from Houston was here. I mean, people were flying in from all over the world, literally, to come to this event. And it was the most gorgeous event I've been to.
When an event is that big, is it then up to event planners to say, well, now we have to top that? Does that ever happen?
No, I don't think you can top it because it only opened once. I mean, there's only one opening of the Modern Wing. So something like that, they have to get it right the first time.
And have there been some that you've attended recently that you've really been excited about, and then you show up and you go, what? Seriously, this is it?
Yeah, I hate to mention it, but I was at a party last night, and I was a judge for this event, and it's a wonderful cause. It's for MS, and so that made it all worthwhile. But it was called the Hello Stiletto Shoe Ball, and it was at the Holiday Inn, and it was they were expecting, I think, bigger numbers than they got, and the shoes were supposed to be outstanding because you're supposed to be judging these shoes on the runway. And people were in tennis shoes. Now, come on, man up here. And it was just a little disappointing.
Not for a night like that. You dress it up.
No, and I was dressed up. I wanted to play the part.
Yeah.
So sometimes it doesn't play out quite the way you hope it does.
Very, very sad. Fabrice, I'm not ignoring you. You just have to understand there's a former Playboy Playmate in the studio. So
I'm okay.
I've actually asked management if anytime we do the show that there should always be a Playboy Playmate standing by just in case.
Let me be the one.
I would like you to be the one. How did you become involved? You are the lead dancer for the Joffrey, which I believe in the world of dance, I don't know if it gets a whole lot higher than that. That's a pretty good ranking to be. How did you become the lead dancer for the Joffrey?
Well, I started dancing when I was 3 years old. I entered a program called the Paris Opera program. So basically, it's like a boarding school that raises young kids to become lead dancer and professional dancers.
From that age, from that early age, they're already training.
Yeah,
wow.
they train really, really early. And the boarding school started age 8. And I boarded the school at 8. And I left the school when I was 17, 18 because of my height. I was a really, really tall dancer, and it was not a bright future because my height in the company.
He's 6'6".
Yeah, very tall, 6'6".
And so the Paris Opera company has basically ranked with the company, and you start with a corps de ballet with an ensemble, all the way to the lead position, but it takes 6 years. And to be in a corps de ballet, it's all the same height, and I was really, really tall, so I couldn't fit in.
They want uniformity. It's more pleasing to the viewer for everybody to be the same height.
Of course it is. And at that age, someone from the American Ballet Theater in New York joined me and saw me dancing and was like, look, in the States, there's no such thing as rules. We have scales and levels. You'll be able to, if you're good, you'll be able to be a lead dancer. Come to the States, and that's what I did. I left with age 17. I moved to
Were you
New York.
apprehensive, or did you think, yeah, this is a pretty good move? Were you a little nervous?
You know what? I didn't know how to speak the language.
Oh.
I had a sort of no clue about what to expect, you know, from America. I mean, it's like it was a big jump. It was like I had no clue what to expect over there. So it was.
And when
I was really
you
nervous.
got here, Fabrice, did it live up to expectations? Was America what you thought it would be, or was it not?
Pretty much, it was a really great experience because, you know, I was really nervous, and after New York I went to Philadelphia, and I attended a school called the Rock School with Bo and Stephanie Spasov that really make me feel like their own child.
Yeah.
I mean, they received me, they took care of me, they helped me out with my immigration status and all this, took care of my paperwork, and really find me a home. So it
Tell
was
me
a great
this.
time.
My mom was a dance teacher, and I got to see hundreds of girls go to her studio for years. What makes you, I mean, there's so many different levels of being a good dancer, but how do you go from being not just a good dancer, not just a great dancer, but to achieve what you've achieved and be the lead dancer for Joffrey? How great do you have to be in that category?
You know, it takes a lot of practice. You know, I've been dancing from a really young age, and I think that some people have the skill, they have the talent, really, like naturally talent, and you can show who they are. You know, they have the facility, they have the lines, they have the body for it, and all this. It takes a lot of practice because you need to understand that, like, ballet is the most unnatural things to do. You know, it's like
isn't
the
it?
turnout, the position, the
The
flexibility.
plie. In
The
normal
plie.
life, very rarely will you see a need to plie or arabesque. It doesn't happen that often.
Exactly. It's you have to be a really great athlete, you know, first. And I think it takes a lot of practice and hours. And sometimes, you know, like the weaker the one that cannot follow those patterns, and you know, they give up. And you have to keep going on and growing within the skills and understanding also acting.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when you
It all plays in.
of course, you know, like we just performed Othello, and Othello was a Shakespeare play, and you have to understand you have to become Othello. You know, you cannot be a dancer anymore doing all those leaps and move gracefully. You have to be someone else.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
You talked about your training early on. Candace, I got to say to you, I read this and I can't believe it, that at the age of 13, you were a fashion consultant for a major department store chain, Famous Bar.
Right.
How does a girl at 13 get tagged for something like that? That's amazing.
Just forged my way in. I don't know.
At
That's an
13.
ambition. I went over there for the junior board to be a model for their junior board at the department store.
Yeah.
And I wound up really styling all the girls myself and doing their makeup. And so eventually they asked me if I wanted to be headed up and be in charge and choose the models and things of that nature. So I did it all the way through high school.
Well, now, what